Hello, my name is Olga, and welcome to SEO Site Pro. This is the first episode of SEO syllabus, where we'll be talking about SEO basics. I will show you some of the basic SEO concepts, and we'll go into more detail than you have here in this syllabus of SEO basics. Let's start with what is SEO and how it works. So, if you are here, if you're a member of SEO Site Pro, I think you know very well what SEO is. That this is kind of the activity which is supposed to help our sites rank better in Google. This is simply what we as SEOs do to make sure that when someone types a specific query into search engine, our site, not our competition site, is there to appear on top, isn't it? Okay. Speaking of search engines, we all know that there is Google, right? Google is the king, but there are also other search engines, such as we have Bing, Baidu, Yandex, which is popular in Russia. There's also a funny fact about YouTube, which, even though it is not a standard search engine, it is the biggest search engine in the world, right after Google. Okay, what is a keyword? So keyword, this is basically anything you type into Google to find a specific thing or a specific answer to your query. What is a long tail keyword? This is usually a string of keywords that you type to find usually a more specific answer to a more specific question. For example, let's go to Google. Where is Google here? So this is a regular query, SEO. This is a query, you can see knowledge graph here showing us the definition. So this is a keyword, right? But let's now try to type long tail keyword. So this can be, how long does it take to learn SEO? And here we have a long tail keyword typed into Google. We want a very specific answer to this question. And here it is. Google is showing it here to us. What is search intent? So generally we have three types of search intents. We have informational, navigational, and transactional intents. So the informational intent is when we simply want a specific piece of information. We want the answer to our query. This is a great example of an informational query. A transactional query is when we want to buy something. We are almost ready or ready to buy. Let's say I want to buy new running shoes. This is actually the type of shoe I'm planning to buy soon, so let's type it. Nike Vaporfly next %2. These are the shoes I'm planning on buying. And if I type this, and especially if I add something like buy before, then yeah, it is clear what my intent is. I want to buy those shoes, and that's true, I do. Okay, there's also a navigational type of queries, which is when you simply want to find a specific piece of information on a specific website, or when you want to log into a specific site and you are too lazy to go to the login page, and instead you type something like Gmail login. This is an example. Or let's say I want to find something on SEO Fly, then I can type like Technical SEO Audit SEO Fly. This is a navigational query. I want the result from that specific site, my site. Okay, sorry, I have just eaten and I am kind of feeling very full. Okay. What is universal search? So universal search is what we see now is the combination of those different types of results. So back in the day, we just had 10 blue links. It looked something like this. Google in 1995, 8. Yeah, so this is what Google used to look like. Now it doesn't look like that. Let's type something like SEO company California. And now we can see the universal search. So there are maps. There is, people also ask, when I typed SEO, we had something like, we also had the knowledge graph here, SEO books. So this is basically universal search. Okay, SERPs. What are SERPs? So this simply stands for search results page, which is the page of results in Google. So this is a SERP, a search result page. That's it. What else do you think? What else do you think I should tell you in more detail? So a featured snippet. So this is when Google is so kind as to provide you with a specific answer right in SERPs. So let's say, what is SEO? Will there be a featured snippet? No, there is not. Let's try. This one was okay. How long does it take to learn SEO? Okay, this is a featured snippet. This Google took a block of text and presented it here to show me the answer. There's also a rich result. This should not be confused with a featured snippet. Rich result is simply the result which looks a little bit different, a little bit attractive, more attractive. And rich results have been marked with a schema so that they have those wheels and I don't remember how to say it. Never mind. I'm not I'm not shooting those videos. I'm only taking one shot at shooting those videos because I believe that I have so much to tell you that if I were to kind of try to make it perfect and to avoid any kind of stops or my mistakes, then it would take me months to create one video, and I know that you want new content. So let's focus on the educational part of those videos, and please don't be worried about my small tips and things like that. Okay, what I was talking about, rich results. So let me show you a rich result. I used to be a very huge fan of sugar-free cooking. I even created a sugar-free site, and I was kind of obsessed at this at one point. So let's type something like sugar-free cheesecake. Okay, and here I can see rich results. For instance, here I can see rating. I can see the time needed to prepare. I can see the calories count. So yeah, this is a rich result. It kind of looks different from a standard rich result, which only has the title. Here is the title, URL, and description. So this is a standard search result, and this is a rich result. This is a rich result, which there are different types of rich results, of course. This is just one type. Okay, there is a CTR. This is something I think you should know about. This is a click-through rate, which is simply the ratio of users who clicked on a specific link to users who view a given link. So let's say that 1,000 users saw this page, this result, and only 10 of them clicked. So then this will be, so then the ratio of those the click-through ratio would be, I'm not, if I'm counting it correctly, 1%. I guess it will be 1%. Okay. What are ranking factors? So this is kind of, we all SEOs want to know. There are hundreds of ranking factors, some of them being more important, some of them being less important. We as SEOs and Google kind of agree on at least a bunch of things that we know are ranking factors. These include links. This is probably the most powerful and the most abused ranking factor. There's of course content. There is internal linking. There is the accessibility of the site to Google. So if Google cannot crawl the page, then it cannot rank it. But this is kind of debatable whether this is a ranking factor or not. But let's not go that route. Everyone has a little bit different view. But overall, we know kind of a set of things that should be improved, that we should work on to make our site SEO optimized. Google, what's important to note here as well is that Google kind of attributes different weights to those ranking factors. So for some sites, a specific ranking factor may be more important than for a different site. There are also ranking factors like the recent one, Google Page Experience, Core Web Vitals. Google says clearly this is a ranking factor, but this is more of a tiebreaker. So this is not something that will definitely make your site invisible in Google. This is more something like if you have a very fast site and your competition, which has an identical site, when it comes to other factors, has a slow site, then you will be given a boost. But I'm going too much into detail. This is a basic lesson. Okay. What is a backlink? So backlink is any link pointing from a different site to your site. Backlinks are kind of considered to be votes of confidence for your site. And since they are a ranking factor, people, SEOs, kind of have been abusing them a lot. And Google is becoming more and more clever at recognizing those backlink manipulations and punishing people who are really overdoing that or ignoring those spammy links. One thing I think we should make this distinction between is SEO and SEM. SEO is about organic traffic, which is kind of free traffic, but this is, of course, debatable as well. And there is SEM, which is search engine marketing, and this is basically about paid traffic. So you pay for a click, and then you're displayed in Google search results as an ad. And as long as you pay, you will be displayed there. The moment you stop paying, you are invisible. While with SEO, if you have a very well optimized site, when it comes to SEO, you have good content and you are getting a lot of organic traffic, then the moment you stop doing SEO, your traffic will definitely not stop. It will stop after months, maybe even years, when your site kind of becomes obsolete. Keyword research. So this is one of the basic tasks that every SEO should be able to execute. This is simply the process to find and analyze keywords or search terms that users type when looking for specific information, products, or services. So you need to know what users are typing to find a specific thing. You need to know how popular a specific phrase is, and you need to kind of target those phrases within your content. One thing to keep in mind is here regarding keyword research that like 10 years ago, we used to think about keyword research like we used to treat keyword research like simply looking for a specific phrase and stuffing it on our page and targeting only this one phrase within our page. Now it is a little bit different. We are not specifically targeting keywords, but more topics, intents. Okay, link building. So this is again one of the most abused SEO techniques, I think. And that's why Google kind of made a lot of changes regarding links and how they are counted and things like that. So link building is basically the process of acquiring links from one website, from a high quality website to your website. Of course, the only links that really matter for your site are the links that come from other websites which are kind of within your industry, that are relevant, that people really click on and go to your page. So these are the links that can actually, I believe, move the needle. But Google is very clear about the fact that they don't want us to buy or sell links, and Google has become very good at recognizing spam links or the links that we bought and simply ignoring them instead of just giving us a manual action, which used to take place some time ago, a few years ago. But anyway, the best way to build links, at least for some industries, like for example for my site, is to create a really good, thorough content that people are genuinely interested in, that people want to share, and that people want to link to. This is the way I built links to my site. And I didn't even buy a single link to my site. I don't need to. And of course, this is not always the case. This is not the way it works in the case of affiliate sites. I doubt people will be happy to link to an affiliate site or to an e-commerce site. This is kind of a different story. But okay, let's move on because it's taking too long. It was supposed to be a short video with just that gist. I don't want to bore you. I don't think I need to explain why SEO is important. This is 2021. SEO is important. Okay, what is a technical SEO audit? This is something what is an SEO audit? So this is another kind of a process, task that SEOs need to do. So an SEO audit is simply the process of analyzing and evaluating a website in terms of search engine optimization and visibility. So we are simply looking for problems within a site, issues, you're highlighting them, and you're looking for opportunities, quick wins. That if the site changes something, and then there is a good chance that it will improve its visibility quite quickly. Okay. Technical SEO audit is a bit more specific in that you focus on the technical side of things. Robots.txt, speed, XML sitemaps, and so on and so on. This is my kind of specialty. So I think I shouldn't be talking about that because it will take me like 5 hours and I still won't be done. Okay, another question that many people ask, is Google the only search engine that counts? So yes, for the majority of countries, for the majority of world, right, that's the way it is. However, in China or in Russia, there are different search engines that are kind of dominant. But if you are in the Western world, or if you are in Europe or in Asia, except for China and Russia, then yeah, Google is the search engine you should be focusing on, at least now. Another thing, coming back to audits, there's also a different type of audit, which is called a link audit. In this, you simply analyze all of the incoming links to a site and try to assess them, whether they have been bought, whether they're natural, whether this is simply some pure spam. And this kind of analysis is especially needed if the site got a manual action from Google for manipulative links. So yeah, this is something that it is not so often, it is not needed so much right now, because many of those link manipulations are now handled algorithmically, but still manual actions for links do happen. What else? What is a Google algorithm update? So this is something that Google does every 3, 4, 5 months, depending on the year. This year was quite. This year we had a ton of confirmed Google algorithm updates. This was kind of, especially in June, we had like 6 or something. We had the spam update, core updates, Google Page Experience update, the Predator update. There was something else I don't remember. I don't even remember that right now. But yeah, this is simply Google algorithm update is that there is a change, big or small, in the way Google algorithm assesses values and rank sites. Okay, one way, coming back to algorithm updates, one way to keep track of what is happening within Google and algorithm is to use some SEO weather tools, like there is Masscast, which shows you algorithm temperature fluctuations. So if there is something high, then it means that something is happening. So for instance, here we have hot, very hot temperature, and this was July the 2nd, so it was the second part of the Google June core update. So yeah, it was hot on that day. Okay, what else? What else should I tell you? You should really know what Google Webmaster guidelines are. So this is basically a set of rules provided by Google with regards to how you should optimize your site and do SEO. You can see the overview of Google Webmaster guidelines on Google Search Central. They are all listed here. This is definitely something you should read if you haven't already. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner, an advanced, or an intermediate SEO. Generally, what's here on Google Search Central regarding SEO, we have introduction, just the basic, beginner SEO, advanced SEO. This is your SEO Bible. Yeah, that's it. What else? Okay, there's EAT. And EAT is not about eating. It is about expertise, authority, and trust. I'm just kind of making it a little bit shorter. I know those words are more complicated, but I have trouble pronouncing them. Okay, so the term EAT appeared for the first time in Google's Search Quality Raters guidelines. This is a very long document that Google created for its Search Quality Rater guidelines to tell them how to assess sites when it comes to their quality. And once those quality raters do those assessments, then Google developers, engineers kind of make some fixes to Google algorithms so that they surface even better results. So let me show you let me show you what this document looks like. This is definitely something you should read as an SEO. Yeah, this is quite long, as you can see, but this is the document in which this EAT concept appeared for the first time, and this Your Money, Your Life page kind of definition. So these are the pages which kind of can influence the life and the life decisions and the financial decisions of a person. And these include, for instance, like news and current events sites, medical sites, financial sites, and stuff like that. Okay, what else? What is Google penalty? So this is when Google decides that your site is bad, that you have been involved in some mischievous techniques, and Google can penalize you either algorithmically, so that you will simply see a drop in organic traffic, or you can do it manually. Then you will see a notification in Google Search Console, and probably you will get an email. Once you get that, you are in trouble. You will have to make fixes, prove that you really kind of improved, that you made those changes, and explain yourself. Then file a reconsideration request and wait for Google to come back to you and maybe lift the penalty or not. So this is a bad situation to be in. Okay, what's else? Google Autocomplete. I know that I'm kind of jumping around those different concepts, but I believe that once you really know those concepts, you can really kind of grasp the SEO in such a way that you can from that point, from that place, you can go further, you can go deeper. These are the concepts, the things that kind of show everywhere. It doesn't matter what level of SEO knowledge you have, you'll be seeing those everywhere. So that's why I kind of decided to put them all here, even though some of them are more advanced, some of them are less advanced. Okay, I got out of breath again. What is Google Autocomplete? So this shouldn't be confused with autosuggest. Google is not suggesting keywords for you. It is kind of predicting what you may be looking for. Let's see what Google predicts for me. Let's type how to do. Okay, I have only SEO suggestions, basically. How to do SEO, how to do SEO keyword research, how to do SEO in WordPress, things like that. So yeah, these are the predictions of Google for me. I like them. They really are the right predictions for me. Okay, let's briefly talk about different types of SEO. So SEO is a kind of a general concept that entails a lot of smaller subcategories of SEO. So the most common one is on-site and off-site SEO. So on-site SEO refers to all of the optimizations that are done within a specific site on the site, like like the name suggests, right? Like meta tags, content, speed, URL, internal links, things like that. Offsite is the kind of the opposite. So these are basically the links, or the links built to earned or built to the site. And when it comes to on-site, there's also the division into on-page and on-site. So on-site kind of refers to the whole site, while on-page refers to one specific page. So for instance, if you are creating a new headline, optimizing a headline on a specific page, this is an on-page SEO factor. If you are optimizing, let's say, Robots.txt, this is an on-site SEO factor, because Robots.txt, there's just one Robots.txt file for the entire site. You don't have Robots.txt files for every web page, right? Okay, let me think what else. There is, of course, technical SEO. This is the best type of SEO that's there, focused on technical optimizations. There is mobile SEO, which is kind of takes into account the optimizations that can help your site help your site rank better for mobile users. So mobile SEO is kind of a standard right now, I would say, because practically almost all of the sites have been moved to mobile first indexing. So we should really only care about mobile first indexing and the mobile version of our sites. And mobile first indexing, by the way, is when a Google bot only uses the mobile version of your site to index and rank your site. So if something is not visible on your mobile version of the site, but it is visible on the desktop site, then Google won't take notice of that. This is important. Keep that in mind. What else? Okay, there is a funny division. We have Black Hat SEO, White Hat SEO, and negative White Hat SEO and Great Hat SEO. So Black Hat SEO is kind of involving in all of those mischievous techniques that are supposed to mislead Google into thinking that your site is better than it really is, and manipulating Google so that you rank highly, but you are doing it because you have kind of bad intentions. So this includes any forbidden tactics. We can see here quality guidelines. Here are examples of those black hat techniques, like creating automatically generated content, like sneaky redirects. So for instance, you have a link on your site and it says that it goes to, let's say, click here to view a specific article, and the user clicks, and then the user is mischievously redirected to somewhere else, to some mischievous site that the user didn't want to land on. So this is an example. There are paid links, cloaking, hidden text, and things like that. Okay. So you shouldn't be a black hat. I believe in 2021 and moving on, this will not kind of be a good way, a long-term strategy for SEO. It never really was, at least in my opinion, of course. And white hat SEO is the opposite of a black hat SEO. Yeah, kind of logical, white and black. White hat SEO is simply doing everything by the book, being compliant with Google guidelines, with what Googlers say, what they recommend. And to be honest, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I have always been a white hat SEO. I never really believed in those black hat tactics, even though some years ago, 10 years ago, they really worked magic, but I don't think they do anymore. Anyway, being a white hat usually pays off in the long run, especially if you are not into creating some kind of a quick project that will bring you some quick money, and then you will forget about it. If you're building a business like I'm building SEO Sly, then I don't think it would make any sense to try some black hat techniques for SEO Sly. I'm thinking about this business seriously for the years to come. And so, yeah, I'm a white hat. There's also someone in between. This is a great hat. So this is doing mostly white hat things, but being kind of on the border with some of them. So let's say you buy some links, but you make sure that those links look very natural, that those links, for instance, bring you real people, real traffic. And if links bring people, then we can kind of say that they are more natural, and buying those links only sporadically. So this is kind of being a gray hat. This is, of course, better than being a black hat, but yeah, this is kind of a gray area. There's one kind of interesting type of SEO, negative SEO. So the purpose of negative SEO is simple. You want to do all you can to harm your competitor. The most popular tactic of a negative SEO is buying millions of links, spammy links, and pointing them with some weird keyword anchors or exact keyword anchors to your competitor, hoping that they will get a manual action. But Google has become very, very good at recognizing those types of links, those types of negative SEO tactics and this ignoring them. So I don't think this is something to worry about, at least in most cases. What else? A search engine robot. So yeah, this is kind of the foundation of SEO again. This is a tool that search engines use that is kind of crawling the web and gathering information about the sites and adding them to the database, their database. Okay, now my favorite part. I will be quick here because if I kind of do not have control over this, then I will be talking about technical SEO for the next 5 hours. And I don't want you to fall asleep while listening to me. Okay, so technical SEO focuses on the technical aspects of a site when it comes to improving visibility in search engines. This includes, among others, such optimizations as accessibility to robots, crawlability, site performance, speed, whether your site uses an HTTPS, whether there's an XML sitemap, whether there are some errors with indexation, crawlability, and so on and so on. One of the elements of technical SEO, the element that every SEO checks, is, for instance, an XML sitemap. So this is a file that is supposed to have all of the URLs that you want Google to crawl and index. You shouldn't put the URLs on your site, the URLs that you don't want to be indexed or which are, for instance, redirected to other URLs. Let me show you an example of a sitemap. I will show you my own sitemap. Let's sitemap. Okay, so this is my sitemap. This is the sitemap generated automatically by RankMath. I have a sitemap for posts and for pages. Let's see here, pages. Let's view the source. This is kind of what the sitemap really looks like. Okay, where was I? Okay, what else do we have? Okay, crawling, rendering, indexing, and ranking. So these are basically the 4 steps. This is, of course, a very simplified overview of how SEO kind of works. So at first, Google bot or other bot crawls the site. Then, if there is some JavaScript, it renders the site. Then, if the bot decides that the site has some valuable pages, then it may index it. And then the last part is to rank the site, which is, of course, influenced by different ranking factors and things like that. Okay, what are meta tags? So meta tags provide information about a page to search engines. These include meta title, meta description, meta robots. These are kind of the 3 most important ones. So meta title is what you see here in the tab, and what you see in the search results, like technical. You know, I'm quite boring with those examples. Audit. So why my site isn't here? That's bad. Okay, so this is the title. This is the meta description. Okay, this is the meta description. And the title is also shown here. Okay. And meta robots is saying to Google whether you want whether a site page should be crawled and indexed or not. Okay. Okay, now we have Robots.txt. This is a very important part of technical SEO as well. This is a file that is put in the main directory, which kind of tells Google and other search engine bots whether to crawl or not to crawl a specific site. Let me show you an example. So this is my Robots.txt file. The Robots.txt file can also show you provide the URL to the sitemap. If it is not in the standard location, the standard location is sitemap XML without this. But this is not a very crucial thing if you have a small site that does not have too many websites, and if, for instance, you have submitted your XML sitemap to Google Search Console, then you don't really need to worry about that. Okay. What else? What is alt text? So this is a little bit technical side of things. So alt text is simply the description of the graphic element on the site. In case this graphic is not loaded, or if someone is using a screen reader, then they will be able to determine what's on the image. So this is both an SEO kind of factor, small factor. I don't want to go that route whether it is a factor or not, but let's say it is. And there is the accessibility aspect of it, which is, I think, even more important in that case. Let me show you. Let me show you an alt text on my site. I hope I pick a good example in which there is an alt text. Okay, let's hope that this image has an alt text. So let's inspect it. Oh, where it is. Let's inspect it. Okay, off. It has an alt tag, alt tag. So here's this image of me. And here's the alt text. So it has Olga SEO expert. So yeah, I did a good job with that one. Okay. What else? What are headings? So headings are used to kind of divide the content of the page so that it is more readable, more accessible, both for users and both for search engines. Usually you should have an H1 tag, one H1 tag, and then smaller level headings. You should make sure that the structure of your headings is not corrupt, but these are kind of good practices. But Google generally kind of deals with that. If you have like double H1s or if you have slightly corrupt structure, Google will be fine as well. Let me show you. Okay, again, I can show you the structure of headings in a quick way. For instance, using to Google. It's not extension. This is web developer tool built into Google Chrome. I go to information, view document outline. Oh, and here's the structure of headings on my homepage. This is almost perfect. Privacy overview. What was it? I think I need to check that. I guess this is from this. Okay, this one comes from the cookie notice. Okay, I would need to change that. A canonical URL is the primary version of a URL, the one that you think is the most important and the one that you want Google to crawl to index. This is canonical URLs are useful if you have duplicate contents and you want to indicate to Google which one is the most important one and towards which one all of the signals should be kind of transferred. Canonical URLs are, let's see, view page source. Let's look for canonical. Okay, here it is. So this is the canonical URL of my homepage. So this is kind of what I expected here to see. This one is pointing to itself. So this is the self-referential canonical. Okay, but this is the basics. Let's not go too deeply into that. So what is structured data? This is the area I definitely want to be better at. I know something about it, but I think I should kind of learn more about it to be able to maybe even create very specific in-depth audits or just structured data. But okay, I am kind of diversing here. So structured data in the context of SEO simply refer to providing extra information about a page to Google so that Google kind of can better connect the dots. So for example, you can indicate the author of the page using structured data. You can indicate your address using structured data. There's also a specific type of structured data that can help you generate rich results. Like we saw at the beginning of this movie, you can use the structured data to show the stars in search results. Or there is FAQ schema, which will generate those FAQ questions in SERPs and other types of structured data. Rich results. Google even has something called rich results gallery. Let me check. Where is it? Oh, I made a mistake. Sorry. Rich result gallery. Okay, here it is. And here, Google is showing us different types of structured data that can help you, that can generate rich results, which kind of look a little bit more attractive. So we have like event, fact check, FAQ, the one I just talked about, and more. So this is something to explore if you are interested in adding rich results to your sites. Okay, what is the breadcrumb navigation? So this is basically this is what you use to show your users where they are on the page, and breadcrumb navigation can also be implemented with the use of schema so that it looks more appealing in search. Let me show you breadcrumbs. Here's the breadcrumbs on my site. For instance, in the case of SEO Slide Pro, I put them everywhere, and I'm doing it mostly for users so that they know where they are on the site and so that they can simply quickly come back to a higher level page. Okay, canonicalization. So yeah, this is kind of what we already talked about. This is when Google or you decide which page out of a group of pages is the main one. And one thing to keep in mind is that Google can sometimes choose a different canonical than the one you declared. This is up to Google. You can check whether that happens in Google Search Console. You just need to inspect a URL and then click to that setting, and you will see the canonical that has been selected by Google. Mobile first indexing, I believe I have already talked about this. Local SEO. So this is the area I don't specialize in. Local SEO is a bit different because you are basically focusing on one specific or multiple specific locations. And this is more about Google My Business, making sure that the Google My Business profile is optimized so that the site is visible in maps and things like that. Some of the techniques, let's say, are a bit different. So, for instance, in the case of local SEO, it is okay to add a site to directories, local directories. Like in the case of normal SEOs, we kind of stopped using directory listings like, I don't know, 10 years ago. Okay, I think we should be wrapping this up because I'm pretty sure that you're already sleeping. So Instagram SEO, this is kind of a type of SEO, and the only purpose is to make sure that your Instagram profile is shown more often, is visible in Instagram, and maybe in Google in some cases as well. Core vitals. So this is. Let me take a sip of water. I usually don't talk as much as I'm talking right now, and this is kind of. I feel tired after talking so much. What are core web vitals? So these are basically a set of 3 metrics that Google came up with, which are supposed to help us measure our site's performance and speed. These include the largest content per page, first input delay, and cumulative layout shift. You can easily measure those using Google Page Speed Insights tool. This tool shows you both field, so kind of real-world data, and lab data, but you can also use Google Search Console, which will show you the data just from your actual users. So let's see how my site is doing. I am a little bit afraid what I will see because I haven't checked that in a while. And I know from my experience that even if my site was like 1990, I kind of stopped obsessing over speed. It kind of tends to go down and down and down until I kind of get it under control again. Let's see what's there. Let's see. It's the moment of truth. Okay. I hope that you like this kind of informal nature of these videos. I don't want to be kind of that's not bad. I don't want to be like a lecturer, very official. I want to talk to you like I want to like talk to you like you were my friend. You are my friend, I hope. So yeah, this is kind of. I hope you like this style. Okay, 81. That's not as good as it used to be, but that's for the purpose of showing you Google Page Speed Insights. So here you have field data. You can see the field data. As you can see, my site passes field data, real world user data, and here's lab data. So I kind of failed on the cumulative layout shift. So I think it's basically okay. Okay. And regarding core web vitals, I have like a ton of articles here on SEO Fly on the blog. So if you want to learn more about core web vitals, just go there, and you will have a lot of reading. There is also ASO, which is kind of a different SEO, different type of SEO, which is about making sure that your app is visible in the App Store instead of in Google. So we have just Google Play and what was the other one? Google Play and iTunes, I believe it is iTunes, App Store, iTunes, something like this. Okay. We can also talk about social SEO, but this is kind of, I think, an exaggeration. So we have social SEO, which is about gaining signals from social media sites, believing that this may somehow help us with the visibility on search engines. And I found something like WordPress SEO. So this is basically about doing SEO for a WordPress site. So generally the rules are the same, but maybe the implementation part in some cases may be a little bit different. Because, for instance, some things are changed differently in WordPress than they are in Joomla and other CMSs. Okay, I think we will be wrapping up here with the SEO basics. I'm wondering if there is something else I should tell you about SEO right here. I believe I may also add something about NoFollow links. So generally, when you add a link with an href, this is a link, a follow link, do follow link, but there isn't really something like a do follow link. Let me show you a link on my site. Let me show you a link to somewhere. Let's go to here. Okay, here's a link. Let's inspect that. Okay, so this is, where is it? Okay, here's it. Okay, so this is the link. This is a link A, href, this is a link. But there is also a nofollow link. You can add a nofollow tag to a link to make it, to tell Google or other search engines that you don't want Google to crawl that link and to count it, kind of to give the SEO power through that link. And in that case, you add a nofollow. Let me show you what a nofollow looks like in practice. So for instance, here I added a nofollow to the link to Twitter. Let's inspect that. Here it is URL nofollow. This is something you should know about. There are also two other attributes you can add. There's also URL sponsored. So if someone buys a link on your site, then you should add a rel sponsored so that you are okay with Google. Because if you don't, and this is a bot link, a link that you bought, then you are kind of doing maybe a black hatish thing. And there's also the rel UGC. So this is the type of link that was added by your users. You have nothing to do with that link. So generally, you should add this attribute to the link to make sure that you're not hurting yourself if users are adding some spammy links or links to their spammy sites. Okay, I think we'll be wrapping up because I was supposed to talk for like 15, maybe 20 minutes, and I think it's been an hour. Okay, if you have any questions regarding SEO basics and you think I should share something else here or maybe add a new concept here, just let me know and I will update the SEO basics. And next week, we'll be talking about beginner SEO FAQs, which are already posted there, but I will be kind of commenting on them a little bit like I did with that one. Okay, bye-bye. Hope you like this video.